Hi, I'm Sophie, and I haven't seen a lot of films.
Hi, I'm Paul, and I'm here to help with that. And we are
SP Film Viewers.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Yep, Happy New Year from both of us.
Hopefully you've had a good start to 2023. It'll be dark and gloomy January, which everybody wants to get rid of, but soon spring will be here.
Yeah, and we're all for that.
Yeah. Want to get out in the garden. Yeah. I think everyone's for that, and then they don't have to put their eating on.
Save on those electricity bills.
Yeah.
Everything, yeah. It's
ridiculous.
Miserable. But we're here to try and brighten your day with a classic
I'm really looking forward to this one.
movie this time.
I think this has been on your list for ages, and I've kept on going, what about this one? What about this one? And I think it'll just bring some lightness into the world, and hopefully it'll make me happy. It's got dancing in it. I hope it doesn't let me down, because I've never seen it, and it's stupid because it's iconic. And
yeah, consider how much you like dancing and
John Travolta as well.
Yeah. So the film in question, if you haven't already guessed, is Saturday Night Fever. Now, I think what kind of surprised me about this film, I think there is two different versions.
Oh, okay.
Well, I'm pretty sure the one I've got is the more R-rated version, which you wouldn't think for something that's based around disco stuff and dancing stuff it would really be that dark, but
oh, really?
It does
it's
go
not
from
because of raunchy kind of
raunchy, not raunchy like Dirty Dancing.
No, that's what I was thinking it would be. That's why I was saying it.
It's more like because it's drug use and swearing and that kind of stuff. So it's
didn't see it going down that avenue. I don't know. I felt like it was going to be equivalent of Dirty Dancing, but disco.
Yeah, right.
That's what I've got in my head.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping better acting from everybody. Fingers crossed.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously in Dirty Dancing you've only got Patrick Swayze. That's the good actor.
Looking through the other cast members, I'm not too familiar with
any of them.
The other ones, but obviously John Travolta is the main staple of the film. That's what they sell. The star power that sells the film.
It is, isn't it? And I read the back of the thing, and it said, because you showed me the case, and I read the back of it, and it does say like this is like John Travolta's like kind of not first, but like debut kind of thing. And it's like, what about Grease?
Yeah.
So it makes it sound like he's like kind of, this is his like breaking kind of movie. Maybe I'm wrong.
Well, this was before Grease.
Really?
So, yeah, by a year.
Ah, okay. Yeah. Right.
So
I don't know, I just assumed Grease would be before this for some reason.
There we are. So the synopsis kind of briefly reads: Tony spends his Saturdays at a disco where his stylish moves raise his popularity among the patrons. But his life outside the disco is not easy, and things change when he gets attracted to Stephanie.
There's a romance in it. There we go.
Yeah.
So I'm happy with that. Yeah, no, I think I want it to be colourful, vivid, a good storyline, which then resolves itself in the end. Because Dirty Dancing has like an abortion within it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it is dark, it's gritty.
Yeah.
So I feel like if it gives me all of that, then...
Yeah. Well, you've got the Bee Gees soundtrack, so...
Yeah. I know the song,
Exactly,
and I know the move, but have I ever watched it? No. Which is bizarre.
No. Well, probably not because of being the rating it is, but I think there was...
Because I'm a wee little bairn.
So, yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to revisiting this one as well. So.
I don't even know, it might be. Normally, when we first years, there's a 10. We'll see.
Yeah.
I'm not holding myself there, but...
Yeah, don't put it... Yeah, just go with...
I'm hoping...
Tempering your expectations.
Well, you know, like, every other year it has been, like Singing in the Rain, you know.
Yeah. So, start out strong with this one, hopefully. So,
fingers crossed.
Yeah, so we'll speak to you in a bit.
Would you like to know what I do?
It's not necessary.
I'll tell you what I do. I work in a paint store, and I got raised this week.
Right. You work in a paint store, right?
Yeah.
You probably live with your family, you hang out with your buddies, and on Saturday night you blow it all off 2001, right?
That's right.
You're a cliche. You're nowhere. On your way to no place.
What do you got, a stairway to the stars or what?
Yeah, maybe.
Well, you can tell by the way I use my walk. I'm a woman's man. No time to talk.
You're not a woman's man. You
Thanks.
mind? I do love the Bee Gees. Like, I can't fault, apart from More Than a Woman, but I will get into that later.
Okay.
It's just, yeah, it works really well, and I think that's one of the strongest points of this film.
The soundtrack.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. Can't fault the soundtrack.
No, you can't, and it's even better than, I would say, Dirty Dancing soundtrack.
By far.
To be honest. And John Travolta, his character it progresses throughout, and it has ups and downs, I would say. I do think he does a good part. The rest, though, are a bit... He's like your main man, and that's it.
Yeah, like I said before we started, it was like, he's the star power, but truth be told, the rest of them are like, I don't know who you are. That sounds a bit bad, but it's not...
No.
Maybe they were possibly had more star power back when the film came out, perhaps, but...
Well, I don't think John Travolta did, because this was his like debut, wasn't it? Would he have had star power at that point? Would this being his first one?
I don't know if it was his first one, actually. Grease was after the fact, so that would have catapulted him a bit further in the limelight of, being singer, dancer, whatever. But this one, it definitely has a darker tone than what Grease has to offer.
Well, Grease has a little bit of darkness.
Nowhere near the level of this.
This kind of shocked me a little bit, because it's like quite nice at the beginning, and
okay, how'd you figure that?
Like, he's got an ambition, he's got a dream, he wants to be a dancer, he just lives for the weekend. It's quite colourful, quite vibrant.
Of the disco club, yeah.
Yeah, and then at the back end it gets very dark, and you're like, I didn't see that it was going to turn like this.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, for example, within Dirty Dancing, they have, like, the abortion section, which is a bit gritty, but this is, like, really dark.
Yeah, I feel like in this one they would actually show you some kind of actual...
Yeah.
Stillborn child or something who would go down that road.
I don't truly understand why it went down this path, to be fair, with Saturday Night, because when you look at the front cover, it doesn't look like any of that
would occur.
No.
That's what I'm saying. It shocked me initially when I first saw it and thinking, whoa, this is heavy. From what I was expecting, light-hearted.
Yeah.
Some guys just down at the disco having a bit of fun or whatever.
And wants a good time. Like, obviously you need a bit of a background story. And I think he is kind of like Patrick Swayze in Dirty Dancing, and I know I keep referring back to it, but he's the underdog. And you've got Steph, who is Baby, who is a bit more classier of a woman, and they're both trying to strive to be better and impress the classier woman. So it's kind of got that in common.
Yeah.
And it's one of those paths where actually in both stories you feel for the man more, because he wants to better himself, but they just think of him as trash a little bit.
Yeah, like in this, Steph doesn't give him a chance, really. It's kind of like he's trying too hard, but then that comes across as pushy. Yeah. And so it's like she comes off a bit snobbish.
She is a snob.
But I definitely agree on this, watching this time. Yeah, she definitely is. Yeah.
She only is hanging around with him, and she said this, to make herself feel better. That is literally the only reason. Because she feels sophisticated and smart and can belittle him. That is literally it.
Yeah, like, what do you do? Did you even go to college type of thing?
And
like,
you notice whoever that roommate of hers was, she was interested in him. Yeah. He did the same thing to her. He belittled her. And I think Tony, was quite shocked to see her, the way that she reacted towards him, because it's completely different to how she is with him. And in that aspect alone, it's kind of like, you can see the pattern. And I don't know, I feel like Steph's character, she's just all out for herself. She doesn't really care for Tony at all.
No, I don't really know what he really sees in her, really, because if anybody I'm rooting for, it's more Annette, really. I feel like she's got more wits about her, really, despite how she kind of becomes near the end. But
yes. She's got more of a heart.
I mean, that's a personal preference on my side of who I'd go for, but it's almost like everyone's all the girls are throwing themselves at him.
That's what it is, and Annette's doing that, and she's not, I think Tony, being the guy that he is, wants the chase. He wants the thrill of the uncatchable.
Yeah.
And that's what Steph is.
Like, tale's old as time almost, really, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's like hard to pin her down.
Yeah.
So it's like she's more intriguing and elusive, and that's more appealing.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Annette's just there throwing herself at him like any other girl who doesn't want her.
Yeah.
Even though her heart is definitely in the right place, like she really does care for him and would do anything for him.
I mean, it's more about because of the fact that she wants to be his dance partner for this competition that's going on and stuff. But then he's like, "No, sorry, I've got someone that looks a lot better than you, more skinny and everything." And it's just like,
dance better than you and all of that. And he doesn't really think of how he's treating
shouldn't
her.
be really putting those parameters.
And he does, to be
people.
fair, he treats her like rubbish. Like, he really treats her like shit on his shoe. And it's just not nice to see. I think this was something where I noticed the 70s and vibe of it. Like, I don't know, maybe I'm sounding a bit old, but for me, even when I was younger, it wasn't like, oh, every Saturday night we have to go out to a disco or to a party or whatever, or a club.
But that's what people kind of lived for, especially the younger generation. That's where it was hip to be doing that, and going out to the clubs.
But they didn't. What else did they have to do?
Yeah.
Like, if not meaning this in an awful way, how else were they meant to mingle and socialise?
Yeah.
Like now,
it's not like days computers and you just have cans of beer at home and whatever and stuff and watch TV and stuff. It's a different time period. Is what it is.
And like, I think my mum said, oh, it was a better time period because it was more freer. Like, you could do whatever you wanted. Like, you could smoke inside. You can, you want all these like safety tape everywhere of what you can and can't do. But then I kind of twisted it on the other foot and went, yeah, that's great, but not if you're a woman. Like, the way that these women are getting trapped in this film just doesn't feel right. And the N-word gets thrown round as well. Which
I kind of, yes, it is racist, but I kind of forgotten that was obviously just a very small, minor moment where that happens. But oh, okay, there's very colourful language there.
Yeah. And if I were John Travolta, I'd be like, oh God, did I really say that?
Say that, yeah. Normally it's something you get cancelled for on Twitter or something. You said that word, so no. What?
And I don't know, it feels like it was more acceptable to treat a woman like she was just
an object, really.
Desire. Sexualised, basically. And this is where we'll go into the rant about the Bee Gees song.
All right.
More than a woman. How can I be more than a woman when I am a woman? Unless you're transgender, then that's fine. If you don't want to be a woman anymore, that's not,
Also,
obviously,
different side as well.
Yeah, that's okay. But how can I be more than a woman when I'm already a woman? And if you're saying I'm more than a woman, does that mean because you're sexualising me?
I've got to think that's probably what it's about, meaning it's like you're more than just what society might see you as. You've got something special about you, I guess, for that particular...
Every woman has that. So that's my gripe. And I don't like the song anymore.
Okay.
Because when they were dancing to it...
the climactic dance, which I'm thinking of you watching like your Strictly shows and all that and thinking, right, you've been criticising this and you kind of were like, oh, that was rubbish compared to that other dance that was before. They were like flinging themselves up around and everything spinning and all that stuff, and they would kind of just on a slide in a...
It was crap. It was literally like a two-step thing.
Do like that kind of thing. And
we could have done it, like...
Is this question? Which dance did you prefer? Did you prefer the dance from Pulp Fiction? The Never Can Tell with the eye thing, and that's little shuffle. The John Travolta.
I would say Grease has more dance moves. Like you're the one I would want.
I know it's a musical that's got to have that
Grease
big
lightning.
showmanship, hasn't it? Of that, so
I expected more though from them to say that she was meant to be like amazing. Was Steph like?
I think her teaching's more and felt like more ballet. Like when he first saw her in the dance studio, she was like
that's
in
fine.
that
He didn't even lift her up once though.
Not like in Dirty Dancing either.
No. Like Dirty Dancing, like the dancing in there is top notch. I can't say it's not.
But I don't know if that's partly because, not just like to be defending it as such, like, oh, well, maybe you should have tried harder, but because of it being just for the basis of like it's just regular people who are doing this dance competition. It's not like you say, professional dancers doing this big competition in a big hall with
Yeah.
everyone from all over the country coming to do it. It's just a bit of fun, so it's kind of like a...
It's still a competition though, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I think they actually probably were not as solid of a routine for the way the story went. I think that's why. But obviously when I was watching it initially, I was like, well, clearly they shouldn't win because they didn't do a good job. And actually it turned out they won, but even he knew.
He had like a sour face. Like, I can totally tell those guys second place will where it's maybe discriminative.
Oh, it was more like they haven't come here that often, and Tony is always there every Saturday buying drinks. Oh, we'll give it to him, and it was more biased, I think, than actually on the skill. Yeah. And he was like, no, this is shit because I want somebody to say I'm good because I'm good.
If anything, that's kind of like you said before, like how that's much is means to him, really, and he wants to be merited on how good rather than just like, oh yeah, a safe pass and yeah, well done kind of thing, and like to pat on the back and there you go, his gold star, and it's not deserved for him, really, he feels.
No, and I think that's great because he wants to strive for better, and you can't blame anyone for wanting to be
exactly
better. And seeing that somebody is actually better than you and admitting it.
Yeah, that's a good part of it, because rather than that, like a typical like, we won, like a really, you wouldn't get in a more standard kind of turn of how the film would go if it was playing it safe. Like, like we won and everything's like, and that cuts to the end of the credits and that's that. But this is like no man, this isn't how it's supposed to be. And
I didn't know if they were going to do a dance off, like kind of right, okay, let's, when he went over with the trophy, be like, right, let's both compete now and do like a freestyle or something. I didn't know if it was going to go that way. And then he would still say, yeah, okay, you should win and we should re-vote. But he literally just gives away his prize. So they end up winning first and second prize, these people do. Like, at least he could have taken second off him. Like, just swapped. But he literally comes out with nothing, bless him.
Yeah, but that's proving a point. Like, it's also, like I said, like how he grows throughout the film. Tony, John Travolta. How it's kind of, so at the beginning, he's kind of like, how he's hanging out with his friends, and they're kind of like, oh, stop being so childish with how you're acting. And then it kind of gets more and more like that at the end. It's like, oh, you're just like yes men to me. It's like, oh, great job, Tony, and everything like that. And it's like, no, just tell me how it is, rather than just bigging me up all the time. And it's like, you're so false. Yeah. And everything. So there's that part of the film I do like. But then after that, it gets more increasingly more darker turn.
Yeah, like I think I approve of Tony as a character, and I do think he gets a very good progression. I think the rest of them don't. And I feel the way that it ends completely just is a bit of a shame, really. It was going really well until then. Steph annoyed me a little bit. Like, she just thinks she's just better than everybody. And
like, we won. We won fair and square. Kinda.
Yeah. And even when they were like out with his friends and such, and kind of looking at them all a bit like, oh, I'm better than this. I just think she just was a bit
listing off her, like, name dropping all the
constantly
people.
like, Jesus.
I met up with the studio.
David, you said David Bowie, but the way she said Bowie,
said,
I didn't.
David Bowie, like, what the hell?
I didn't know who that was. I didn't register.
It's not even like a twang for like a New York accent or anything. So
her accent was so bizarre. Like, one minute she was very posh, the next she became very broad.
Brooklyn. Brooklyn. What?
And she started saying "man" a lot.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't really know. This isn't coherent for me.
You're almost like saying like, oh, the lips don't match. What?
Yeah.
What's coming out?
I did say that. It looked like something I've seen in the rain where she's got a voiceover or something.
Yeah.
Like, she's a pretty face, but actually the mouth is not hers.
But from obviously the opening, so we're talking about music a bit more now. See, like that iconic like swagger down the street with the Staying Alive music and everything, that's really good. But I know it was on the top 10 podcast, and when we brought up about that, the fact that we couldn't remember if there was he was walking down with a paint can in his hand, and he is in fact actually.
And I didn't get why, but it comes apparent that he works in a paint shop and hardware shop.
There you go, Pav and Neil.
They do. Yeah, and to be fair, he is very cool with walking with a can of paint. Like, I don't even walk like that.
But obviously he's doing that really low angle with the shoes and everything.
It's really good
like
shot.
To the almost to the beat of the rhythm. So it's very purposeful, but yeah,
And
it sets up.
I think that kind of shows his character, his suaveness. Starts trying to flirt with somebody down the street, and then she don't want him, and he's like, oh, well, I'll just buy some pizza. But the pizza, I've had American pizza.
I love that's what you pick up on.
The food.
He's scanning these 2 slices together. And
Well, the fact that you can buy 2 slices, I know that sounds
just
stupid.
because they're so big, that's why.
If we buy a pizza, it's a full pizza.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we don't get the choice of having a slice of pizza here.
Yeah.
That's not a thing. But I have had American pizza, and it is to die for. It is massive, and he folded them in half.
Yeah.
Like you would do with toast. It like made a calzone
Yeah,
or something.
pretty much,
Pretty
yeah.
much. And I was like, yeah, that looks good. So going a little bit into his background or his family. So at the beginning, like you said, he just lives for the weekend. His paycheck's on Monday so that he doesn't squander his wage. But he's always struggling then when it comes to the weekend.
And blowing it all, and drinks and whatever. Even though he's, underage, 19, he says.
Oh yeah, it's American, isn't
21 when they're supposed to be legally drinking.
So Steph's a year older than him because she's 20. I remember her saying.
Yeah. Still not legal. I think that's really stupid because the amount of this is also the case with like other films and stuff, and I don't get the whole concept of like, especially like, oh, let's drive my car to the bar or the club or whatever. It's like, you're going to have a drink and have like way more than you're supposed to. And it's like, oh, I'll just get in my car at the end of the night and carry. Like, this is why you're having collisions all the time, and it doesn't make sense. It's just so strange.
Other gripe is you can get pregnant at 16 or 18, but you can't drink until you're 21.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm mind boggled. Like, so a 16-year-old
doing
can
yourself
have
any favours,
a child, which is a child.
Yeah.
That's fine to do.
Mm-hmm.
You can't drink until you're 21. I'm like, really? I think it should be the other way around.
Yeah, I do.
To be fair.
Yeah. There we are. But the family life at home as well, it's your typical, you have your domestics and stuff. It's kind of like, feels that would be pretty common especially in the lower class areas of Brooklyn or whatever. Or anywhere, in fact, really. Like living at home, ma and pa and everything.
Well, we were living at home with ours, weren't we? When we were like,
but not that kind of
but it's one of those things
animosity going on.
Oh,
with
no. Well, his brother was in the church, wasn't he? So it's like one of those siblings that does really well.
Really perfect, or put on a pedestal. Yeah. And it's like, why can't you be more like him and all that kind of stuff? And it's always like, you just work at hard.
Do you have one of those siblings, Paul? Are you the perfect sibling? Which
I don't know. I wouldn't really say that's the case because I'm not the younger sibling, am I? So.
I know. But I think then obviously his brother changes his way with his job, and I don't know why really. That never kind of comes apparent. I think he's gay.
Could well be.
That's literally where I'm going with it. Like,
yeah, I can't imagine just be like, oh, I just can't be bothered anymore being a priest. I don't know.
No, there must be some reason why.
Yeah, it's never really delved into. But when he's in the disco, he's kind of looking right. But it's like almost like looking at his brother when he's down on the dance floor. But I don't think there's anything there.
No.
I think it feels like there's more here than you're letting on, really.
But I don't know if he's like looking around like in awe initially, like, this is amazing, I've been missing out on so much. And then Bob tells him about that he's knocked a girl up and everything, and that's when that kind of changes things for him, like asking about an abortion, and he's like, you can see him like, oh, this isn't right and I've got to go.
It's almost like he wanted to escape to like, let his hair down kind of almost, but then it's like the sad cold reality of life comes back in, and it's like, oh, these real woes that people have, and it's like, oh god, yeah, the world's really bad. I've got to get out of here, really, and hide away. I don't know, but it seems really strange that it's never really answered as to why that happens, but you can only speculate.
The only thing I can imagine, because like that he disagrees with something within the Bible that he now is, that's why he doesn't want to be it anymore. But obviously he does say kind of that it's his parents pushed him into it, and he's not something he really wanted. He just wanted to please them, and that he should be pleasing himself, which I understand it's hard to do something like that.
But I'd say the rest of his family aren't particularly supportive of Tony, really.
No. Bless him, nobody really is. Apart from everyone kind of cooing over him at the disco.
Yeah, his friends and stuff, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's about it. But they're
Yeah.
not sincere.
the other music we've got in there, the Bee Gees stuff, like like I think my personal favourite like Bee Gees song is You Should Be Dancing, which I think is probably the best dance that John Travolta does in the film anyway. Where he's kind of like just soloing on the
Yes.
dance floor and everyone's like, clapping along at the sidelines and everything.
Yeah.
And it's got a lot of focus on that. I think that's really emphasised that for me anyway.
Well, that's why I thought he was really good at dancing. Like
Yeah,
every
yeah.
other dance, apart from the main show
he was
dance.
doing that leg buckle,
Yeah.
sit down there, whatever you call that. I don't even know
I
what
don't even know how you do that.
that. I couldn't do it with my legs
No.
shot.
But that's what I think why I was disappointed, because I'd seen them both dancing and I just expected
Better
a lot
things.
more.
Yeah. Big epic
Mm.
showdown of some description and deservedly take the trophy, but
Yeah.
But maybe that's part of it. I don't know, for his growth at the end, rather than just
True.
being like a big hot shot, like what you'd expect.
Yeah.
It's just a sour disappointment of what
He did
people
better with the
held.
net at
Yeah,
the beginning.
yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. But and say like I'm not really a fan of that, of how that her character comes out at the end, because he's just being used by his friends.
But Tony annoyed me in this stage because he was sat in the car letting it happen, and he said he didn't want, like, don't do it kind of thing, don't get with him. And then it was like, but how can he really stick up for her when he didn't really want her anyway? So it's like, you can't really say, oh, don't sleep with my friend because I don't want you to. But then the fact that the other friend then gives it a go. So she did want one of them, I think. But the thought of this, like, this repulses me.
It does.
Like,
yeah.
The fact that somebody's having sex in the back of the car and there's people in the front, like, I couldn't.
No, it's just really it seems really awkward, but they've got no shame apparently. But or even just not even just that fact early on, when it's like, oh, give me the keys to think I've got some girl and I'll just finish with her, and then you can have the car back with someone else, and it's like whoring out the car basically.
Yeah.
So I was like, but what the hell? What are you even doing? This situation would be really cringe. Like, oh, give me 2 minutes or whatever, or 30 seconds, however you want to finish. But it's just like waiting around, like, hurry up. It's not like someone going to the bathroom, isn't it? But it's even more cringy.
Well, yeah, it is, because like, you're half naked, having sex, which is quite personable.
Yeah,
in the middle of everywhere,
Of
that
the
everyone's
street,
like
walking
watching
by,
you, and I'm like, no.
But it's worse, even more the fact that it's like, all right, you're up next, and get in the back, and you're like, oh, you've made her cry, so now I've got to deal with this while I'm having this. Like, oh, dude, come on.
Yeah.
Not a fan of that, really.
No, it was awful. But Tony, I felt like he should have done something.
Yeah, he didn't do anything.
He didn't do anything, and it's like he should have stopped.
Stopped that, yeah.
And then when the car did stop, it was like, oh, are you happy now, kind of thing. Sure.
Yeah.
And it's
now
like,
now you are the C word or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh,
I didn't really like that. No. It made me cringe. And then even Tony had started it with Steph trying to kind of
almost rape. Yeah.
Yeah, didn't rape her, but
this was after the trophy thing. It's like, oh, get in the back of the car, and it's like, no, dude,
forcing himself on her. And it's like, no, this is when the more than the woman. It's like you've just tried to like more than a woman, but then you haven't in the back of the car.
Mm-hmm.
You've just tried to like a piece of meat.
Less of a woman.
Yeah, so it's like a load of bollocks.
Less of a woman.
Just rubbish. It's like, why is somebody like that? Like, why was it acceptable back then? And like even earlier on to be like, I don't know if I could have lived in the 70s. I think I'd have been whacking every man.
Not in that way.
No, I'd be like, get off me.
Yeah.
I'd be like the old hag that just didn't end up with anybody. Like, get off me. To be fair though, really, when I was a lot younger, I didn't really get much attention, so I think I might have been alright.
I don't think that's the way to look at things. But I guess if you weren't obviously in like the clubs and stuff at a younger age, then they wouldn't be bustling for that kind of.
Then I'd never meet anyone, because that's only how you'd meet people in the 70s.
Yeah, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't, really, in that sense.
Yeah. And then obviously the messing around on this bridge.
No, that happened earlier as well. I don't know what that was all, but I don't remember that bit at all. Like, well,
is that the same bridge where it's the scene where he's
looking out at the like his thinking spot?
Yeah, and there's a Bee Gees song playing that I really liked, and I forgot what it is now. When you're at...
Oh yeah, How Deep Is Your Love?
There we go.
Yeah. That was some like a tender moment for Tony there. It's like he's kind of like reflecting on things. That occurs more at the beginning and end, so like partway through, when after he's meeting Steph and stuff, so you're thinking, oh, okay, yeah, he's maturing here, unlike his friends who were just having a joke, piss around or whatever. And then it kind of just falls a bit flat at the end. Really, it's like, okay, it's kind of gone on long enough now, and it's kind of just don't like where this is going, really.
So how would you wanted it to end? What would have been a better ideal ending for you? Would it have gone down my dance-off route where
no
that it competed?
No, because don't get me wrong, I do like the fact that there's more of a drama to the story.
I think it's just after that point, though, once he walks out, that's when it just goes downhill. So after that point...
That's what I mean. Yeah, it's hard to really weigh up as to at what point, because it's not very long after that then the film does end, but like I say, but
how would you, from that point where he's walking out with Steph from the club...
I don't know what I'd end with, but because there's not like a point of, right, okay...
Would you want him and Steph to be together? Would you...
No, I wouldn't have done, but I know that's probably not what the audience would have wanted. They wanted some kind of like a redemption. Obviously, you kind of get that when he does go back to Steph's apartment later on.
It finishes very abruptly, to be fair.
It's like, I want to get a job in an apartment, everything.
Why didn't she just move in with him?
You mean, why didn't he move in with her?
Why don't he just move in with her?
Maybe that's what happened, I don't know. Because obviously that freeze frame with the hug at the
I was like, what the hell is that? Is it done? I was a bit confused. You know me, when I look at you when we watch this, and I'm like, you can tell already what my score's going to be because my face is like, what? Why did it end like that? I think for me, I'd wanted to see Tony's progression through develop, because I feel like...
in a more satisfying way.
Yeah, I'd want to see him have the job, have the flat, kind of end on a high for him. And he'd moved out of the town and everything like that. I think that would have been kind of a progression. Yeah. I'd also didn't want to see him try and kind of force himself on somebody. I don't really feel like that was part of his character, because he was flagging his friends off for that. Yeah,
I feel like it might have been better if it had sort of, even just like a hard embracing kiss or something, and she's like, get off me, and then storms off, and then something and that, and
because she does, and I know I shouldn't say this, and every woman's gonna hate me, she does lead him on, like she is being a cock tease, like literally she is. I'm sorry, there's some women out there that are, doesn't mean she deserves what he was trying to do,
doesn't give her the right to,
but also maybe her actions shouldn't have been the way they were either, you know.
It does annoy me about when girls like that, as double standards.
Like, obviously, rape is never the right option.
No, absolutely not.
But, you know, don't lead somebody on to the point of where they really, really, like, are lusting over you and you're flirting and kind of, if you don't want him, just make it apparent and just don't lead him down the garden path, so then you'll be safe. But yeah, I think for me, development of Tony was great until that point, and I think if he'd have just carried on, that scene hadn't have happened. I really don't care for the Annette in the back of the car with his friends, like, and then Bobby jumping off the bridge.
Yeah, almost like, I feel like he kind of trying to kill himself, but without making it obvious, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
In the sense of like, because he knows his life's over, because he has to either try and get his girlfriend to have an abortion or marry her. It's like, I don't want to do that. So it's like, I'll mess around on the bridge. And like, whoops, I slipped.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't have to deal with this anymore, kind of thing. But it's, yeah.
Seems like a weird thing nowadays, like that case of, I've got a girl pregnant, I've got to marry her. Like, that logic behind it, obviously, nowadays is not there. And I think that's quite a good thing. Not saying that the man shouldn't be around and support the woman, I'm not saying that. But why tie a marriage to somebody who you might not want?
But it's almost like being punished for when we should have worn protection. Or
sometimes you can do all the protection in the world and it still somehow magically happens, you know.
Yeah, it's not 100% accurate.
No, it's not. But you can kind of see that with Annette, like, she wants that with Tony. Like, she even says, I'm not bothered, like, because I love you. And I think she generally does care for him. And she's probably the better person for him than Steph.
To some degree, yeah. Apart from the fact that she's kind of like almost throwing herself at him. But
I think that's just because of how much she really likes him. But... And that's what he's doing to Steph.
In any other film, though, I feel like if it was like more up-to-date one, she'd be like the more comic relief character of like, oh, it's the more larger
Yeah.
female friend who's interested in me. She'd be like a proper like throwing herself at in some real cringy way.
Why is Sarah Melissa McCarthy or whatever her name
Melissa
is?
McCarthy, yeah. So
Yeah.
I was thinking that
Yeah.
kind of avenue. Yeah.
I can see that. But I feel like, to be honest, she's like the friend that in like a cliche rom-com where the guy does like a full 360 and comes back to
Yeah.
her.
Yeah, like it was you all along. kind
Yeah,
of.
that's what it feels like it should have been,
but
it wasn't.
maybe his life's not like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's just a typical man thing. You always want what you can't have. I don't think I could have been around in the 70s.
Except for the music, maybe.
The music's great.
Yeah.
It really is. You can't fault it.
Yeah.
But,
Film
I don't know. The thought of smoking in a pub now, or like in a club, I mean, imagine the fog.
Yeah.
Like, both my parents smoke. We used to go to like restaurants and such where there'd be smoking areas while you're eating your food.
Yeah.
And now it just seems a bit dumbfounded, like that's even
I know,
allowed.
it's crazy, right? Yeah.
And the way that they're smoking the cigs as well, like they're just hanging out of the mouth, it's like...
Literally just an accessory for coolness,
Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah.
It's not nowadays, though. Well, I think it is still, but it shouldn't be, because back then I kind of allow them, because it was
It was all
advertised as cool,
and
like
exactly.
a stress relief and all of this after the war and everything. So it's like, yeah, it was commercialised. Whereas now it's like plastered all over it that it isn't really good for you. So,
anything else to pick up on other than like I say the music and the other musical numbers? And go like Disco Inferno is like one of those other songs.
Inferno, burn, baby, burn. We did have the Saturday Night Fever. Was that when he was doing the the dance with everybody?
Yeah. Everyone was on the floor. On
Yeah.
That one. Yeah. They could have them there, obviously.
But even then, they were doing the like pointy finger up in the air down to other dancers. Like I just thought that was Night Fever. But it seems to be just like a move that they just did for anything.
Disco, yeah.
Back then, to be fair, it's not a hard move to do. I guess that's why we didn't have an obesity problem at that point in time.
I don't know about that.
No, I don't think it was as obvious.
What? Because people were more dancing in the clubs.
Yeah, more active.
Maybe it was also the drugs. I don't know.
Yeah, I really wanted to like this more than I did.
Well, as I go into it, I couldn't really remember all the beats of the story. It'd been a while since I've seen it, but I remember obviously the music being one of the main staples, and there's the drama aspect, which kind of helps it along, really, and not being not really tame. So that, I kind of sort of like as we've got older, more like the gritty story and stuff, really. Something
A bit
like
rough around the edges.
But
I think it's 100% storyline.
But I think it just wavers at the end a little bit, is all.
Yeah.
For this, and I think I kind of recall that was especially as Annette being kind of used as she was, and I wasn't really a big fan of that, really.
No.
How that story arc turned out, but
I feel like compared to Dirty Dancing, there is more of a story.
The acting
is better than Dirty Dancing.
Yeah.
But the ending of Dirty Dancing gives you that good feeling.
yeah.
And
of course.
I think the ending of Dirty Dancing I would prefer for this kind of film, because it is kind of the same thing where they're doing a competition or, and they come on top, whereas this is like, it goes downhill somehow. You have the grit of it in Dirty Dancing in the middle with the abortion and everything like that.
But it's not really delved on too much, is it? It's kind of like oh, there's that, and then move on.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all about Baby and...
Yeah, and there's wealth and stuff, but at least Baby is... She's nice. Yeah, she's like daddy and I've got money and everything like that. But she really cares. Whereas Steph, I don't think she really does care.
No, I mean, I'd say for the most part, even Tony at the end, they all kind of become pretty unlikable as characters.
It's really daft,
and the
isn't
friends
it?
are always there, kind of like, whatever.
But I think they're the same in
that's
Grease.
That's their written. That's how they're written. So yeah.
Friends are fine because you didn't like him from the get-go.
Yeah.
But Tony as a character initially, you did.
Yeah. Rooting for him, and then it's kind of like whatever by the end of it. So yeah.
Music though was iconic and really well done throughout the film. Mainly Bee Gees, I'd say.
Yeah, it's almost like exclusively for the film.
Yeah.
Pretty much. I think it's honing in on that style, and that's how they became really big.
Do you know Bee
bigger
Gees?
than they were.
weren't that popular. Like, it was one of those things that
yeah.
you got picked on if you liked the Bee Gees. Like ABBA.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with ABBA. There's some good tunes.
No, now it's really acceptable.
Yeah.
But back then, like, my mum said, if you liked ABBA or the Bee Gees, it was like, ugh.
Yeah.
Really? But Beatles, obviously, was always, the coolest thing ever. I'm thinking, actually, to be fair, I prefer some of the Bee Gees songs to the Beatles. Like, We All Live in a Yellow Submarine.
Yeah, but even I'm not a fan of that song.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it's not really something you can dance to, is it? Really? Obviously,
I don't think you can dance to any of the Beatles songs apart from Swaying.
I Want to Hold Your Hand and, like, Twist and Shout.
Twist and Shout's the best Beatles
those
song.
early songs, yeah. But the later years, when they weren't touring, yeah, they can't really...
Cuckoo, Cuckoo.
I Am the Walrus, you can't really dance to that, can you?
No! No, I think at that
Unless you're on
stage,
drugs and you're just waving your arms around. But,
chuck your knickers at them.
Would you chuck your knickers at John Travolta when he was this young?
I don't think I'd ever chuck my knickers at anybody. I wouldn't even chuck them at you.
P.U.
I know, I don't know. I don't really think if you chucked your underpants at me, I'd be dead impressed.
What's this stain?
Be a bit mortified. I'd be like, oh, cheers, thanks, Paul. It wouldn't be like sending that signal.
Yeah, take me now.
No. Like, it's a bit grotesque.
Anyway, I think we'll go to the scoring now. So, as it's your first watch,
Oh,
you got to give me your...
I hate going first. So, I think it's going to be a 7. I can't mark it really, really low.
Mhm.
The 3 points, sorry, that make it not 10.
Yeah, knocked off, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
is back end.
understand that.
The things that make it a 7 are the music, the colorizations of the disco, the 70s feel, John Travolta dancing and just being him, and his character development up to that point.
Mhm.
I was really enjoying it, and it could have been higher if it hadn't have ended the way it ended. But there's also that BT up part, wasn't there, which I didn't understand what were happening there, where...
That's true, yeah. Yeah, it's like
they ended
a turf war kind of thing.
And that whacking sound where they're like, push, which didn't sound very realistic either, sound effects.
I think, to be fair, if you did have realistic sounds, it wouldn't sound very impactful.
To be fair, I just don't think it were needed. Like,
Yeah, I suppose that's another point you could have done without. But
yeah.
if
Because
they
it
had
was quite long as well.
Other than adding more to the friends are just doofuses and they don't know anything, because it's like, oh, well, it might have been the gang. It's like, what are you talking about? We just got our face beaten up, except for Bobby, who kind of cowered in the car. But
Yeah. So that's my score. Not a 10.
Try harder next time for next film. All right, so mine is probably not too far off, really, from yours. I'm going to go 7.5.
I did consider the 0.5. I did.
0.5 is more the soundtrack, really, because that's on its own is pretty golden. I've got the soundtrack on vinyl. It was good for a spin, really. There's even the instrumental stuff in that's really great. I say, like, majority of the story is pretty solid, but I think I recall is that why I wasn't so like drawn to this as a film. To like, I must like rewatch this all the time and stuff. It's just, I mean, I obviously do like the drama element to it. It's not just all about like the dancing all the time, and there's a bit more to it in that layering of what it's got in the film. But it's just that last 15 minutes or so where it kind of just falters for me, and it's kind of lets it down, really. And you kind of just realise, oh, these people I spent all this time with, like, almost like how Tony's been like, oh, why am I even hanging around with you? Kind of thing.
Yeah.
It feels like that a little bit.
He loses all his friends,
Yeah,
and
almost, yeah.
It's like he doesn't have a great relationship with his parents. He's kind of put everything on the line.
His job and everything and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
For what, really?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what it kind of makes you feel like it's a bit like the ending is a bit bittersweet because you've seen him grow and then he's not got anywhere. And it is quite lengthy for what it is.
I could have put it down to hour 40, 45, I don't know.
Yeah.
2 hours, but I felt the director assumed there was enough there to be going
Some
along
definitely
with.
could get cut.
Yeah, like the whole fight with the other gang or whatever. But anyway,
Yeah.
didn't see that in Greece, did you?
No.
There wasn't another.
There's some rivalry, but it wasn't like...
Having them fisticuffs.
No.
That'd have been interesting, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I think he did a better performance in Grease, actually, and he was more of a lovable character. Ended out
That's how it's, again, written for that.
better.
Yeah.
But still, these women all look older than him. Like, even Steph's character looks a lot older than she's meant to be playing. And obviously Sandy was 28, I think, when she did Grease. And she's trying to be a 18-year-old. Whereas John Travolta was...
I thought that on TV the other day, and it's like, are these supposed to be high school kids? And they all look like this should not even be well past graduation.
What's her name? Is it Rizzo? Like...
Yeah.
She looks like 30 years old. I know you get one of the children where it looks a lot older, but not like 15 years on top or whatever.
Yeah, what you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
So there we are. That's first episode of 2023.
Hopefully you've enjoyed it and many more to come. It looks like we're getting a lot of people interested in being part of our podcast. So we've got a couple of people already lined up.
Mm-hmm. Looking forward to that. Talking about some of the films we've got in the pipeline.
Yeah. So it should be... I'm just excited. It's nice to talk to other people than you.
Yeah, get their opinions on things, yeah. So firstly, I'd like to obviously thank the Patreons for joining Patreon. We've got Mark from 100 Things Learned from Film, Ben from Film Vloggers, our friend Jonesy, who goes by Weight Loss Jonesy on Instagram, and of course your mum, who's
My mum.
yeah.
Sure. So she will be interested to know when she gets to vote.
Yeah, that'll be probably the end of the month, I think, maybe.
She can have her say.
Kind of try to do it that way, but it kind of varies on when it fits. Really depends on what I feel like putting on.
Stuck, you mean?
Yeah, like what should we go for this week and everything? Yeah. So don't know what that'll be, but it'll be coming very soon.
I'm excited for it. I am. I think it'll be good.
Yeah, more of a say on things. Yeah. Varied. So if you'd like to join the Patreon, you can do so by going to patreon.com/SP Film Viewers, all one word.
It's only £1 or £1 or $1.50. I don't know any other currencies, so don't ask.
No, I do try. But you get a shout out like we've just done there, and you also get to vote once a month on a movie for us to discuss. So
your vote counts.
And if you would like to go and listen to some of our other episodes, you can do so over on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, and wherever else you get your podcasts from.
And if you haven't already and you want to stalk us on Twitter, Instagram, or TikTok, then you can, by all means, under the handle SP_film viewers, where Paul does all the hard work and you'll be speaking to him and not me. Because I don't know how to do these things anymore. I've realised I've hit 30 and I've become old.
What does that make me?
A young dinosaur.
A young dinosaur?
Yeah, old but young.
Alright, fair enough. And lastly, if you would like to leave us a nice 5-star review, you can do so over on Apple Podcasts, Podchaser, and wherever else they do the scoring system.
Very much appreciated if you want to do that. I obviously always like nice compliments and good feedback as well, either way. And since it is the new year, I think it's a good intention to start off with
positive
vibes, yeah. Since the last couple of years have been a bit hard for people, so hopefully 2023 will get better.
Yep, and as I said, looking forward to what new stuff may be coming out, maybe in the cinemas and stuff, and that might be something we discuss on an episode, depends, or we just post about wherever, but I'm kind of looking forward to what he has to offer in terms of
being more free,
guests and stuff, and what we cover. So we've got a whole array of stuff to hopefully look forward to.
Yeah, definitely.
So thank you very much for listening to this episode, and we will speak to you next time.
Speak to you next time.
Bye now.
Bye.
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 Bye. Bye.